What's up, everybody? Today I am very excited to announce my guest. He's a New Orleans Saints Hall of Famer, a native of New Orleans, and probably the best kick and punt returner I've ever seen in my life. Michael Lewis, how's it going today, my guy?
Pretty good, pretty good. Can't complain at all.
That's what's up. So, you grew up in New Orleans, and as a non-New Orleans native, why don't you go ahead and tell me and the other listeners who might not be from New Orleans what makes it so special?
Oh man, everybody loves New Orleans. This is a big tourist spot. I mean, everybody like to come down, like you said, for Mardi Gras, French Quarter. Most of the people love to come down because of the food that they eat as well. We have some great food as well. But I think it's more of the people. Like you don't meet strangers when you come to New Orleans. It's almost like family when you come down here. So, I mean, this is like one of the spots that everybody wants to come and see. And when they come, they always want to come back.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody I've ever talked to from New Orleans is super friendly, super nice, and just really just outgoing and positive, and I just love that. But you did talk a little bit about the food, so give us a go-to meal for someone visiting New Orleans. What's your favorite? Give us a couple, maybe. I don't know.
Well, it just depends on, what type of person you are. I mean, you can go with the red bean and rice. Most people like to go and do they like to go to Cafe Du Monde and do the beignets. Everybody like gumbo. It's so many different things that you can get in New Orleans that's, so amazing. You can get, like you said, crawfish etouffee. It's up to you. And I mean, whatever you like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can find it somewhere in New Orleans. It doesn't matter if it's Italian, regardless to what it is. I mean, we'll have it here for you.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So a lot of people may not know the story about you. So who better to talk about it than you, right? Can you give us the story behind your nickname, Beer Man?
Um, I my last job before I started playing football, not like playing, because I played football. A lot of people think I didn't play football, but I actually did play in semi-pro, arena football, indoor football, all these different leagues. But my last job that I actually had was 2 doors down from the Saints facility, and it was a Budweiser distributor that I worked for. That was actually 2 doors down from the Saints facility that I worked for, and that's where the name comes from.
Yeah, so were you just like distributing beer to like the facility, and then they would like see you and be like, "Hey man, like what's up?" Like how'd that go about?
Nah, it's crazy, man. I used to deliver like through the French Quarters, different stores and stuff like that, Superdome and things like that. Had those different routes, but actually, man, I was actually seen playing arena football. I was playing in New Jersey. I used to play for the New Jersey Red Dogs, and played on national TV one night. Had about, I think that game I played two quarters, the last 2 quarters, and the last series of the first half, and I wound up with 271 all-purpose yards and 3 touchdowns. That's when I started getting a little known and stuff like that, and that's when I started getting a little buzz, people calling me and things like that to come and try out. I worked out for the Philadelphia Eagles. I had the Giant scouts and stuff. They came over to New Jersey and watched me practice and stuff like that. When I worked out for the Philadelphia Eagles, those are the team that actually brought me into training camp first. I was actually in Philly before I came back home to New Orleans.
Yeah, that's just a crazy story. Going from selling beer, distributing it, and all of that stuff to playing in the NFL. But you kind of just went over it. But tell us a little bit about your process of getting into the NFL, and then like how'd you take advantage of your opportunities? Because like it's one thing to like get that tryout, but then what did you do different to really just like take advantage of your opportunity?
Well, it was a long road, man. And everybody just, when you hear the story, it's like, oh, I was driving a beer truck. I just pull up there and worked out and made the team. It didn't go that way. I did play, like I said earlier, I did play in various leagues and stuff like that. But when I got the workout, I worked out for the Saints once I got released from Philly. I worked out for Jacksonville and New Orleans. And then they was telling me what they wanted to do with me. They was going to bring me back at the end of the year, send me to Europe. But before the season was over with, I wound up signing on the practice squad for about 4 or 5 weeks. And then I wound up going to play NFL Europe and came back and wound up going to training camp in 2001. And in training camp, it was crazy. I was doing all special team stuff, plus I'm trying to learn the offense as well. And that's pretty much where it all got started at, and it was like, they told me that it was going to be up in the air as far as the return job goes and things like that. So I couldn't blame nobody but myself if I didn't make it or whatever. So I just put in the work, man. I just worked my butt off, day in and day out, paid attention, try to get as much reps I can, and I never wanted to be that fly by night story. Oh, this guy drove a beer truck. He got to try out, blah, blah, blah. And it was over with. So once I played and I wound up making the team, it's crazy. A lot of people didn't know in 2001, I made the team. I played 4 games and got cut and went back on the practice squad. And then the last 4 games of the season, they brought me back up. And that's was my whole thing. I played 8 games that year. And during the off season, man, I worked on catching punts because I never caught punts. I played arena ball. So, you catch it off the net. There's no punts. So I never caught punts. And the crazy part about it is during the off season, man, I took a couple of weeks off. Got with a guy, Ricky Porter, who was actually the guy that actually taught me how to catch punts and things like that. And I worked my butt off like every day. It got to a point to where they was talking about finding me because I was coming in too much, But I put in that work, and that's the thing. Like when I got that opportunity, I didn't want nobody to take it away from me. So I put in all the extra work. I work as hard as I can, and that's one thing that I was saying. I might not be the best. I might not be, the most talented or whatever, but I was going to outwork anybody that gets in front of me. And that was my whole thing. I put in the work. So my work ethic was like crazy.
Yeah, that's what's up. And that's what you need really to get up in there and get to the NFL and play at a high level. What was like NFL Europe and stuff like that like?
NFL Europe it was pretty good. Most of the guys that you met, you got guys coming from all over. Some of them that was allocated by different teams that was over there. You had some guys that just made the roster. You went through a training camp and everything. If you made the team, some guys made the team that was allocated, like I was allocated by the Saints. When I went to Europe, Steve Gleason was actually one of my teammates as well. It was in New Orleans, and we wound up playing on the same team as well in Europe. And you're playing against guys that actually like first-year players, guys that was on the practice squad for teams that they wind up sending over there too. So you playing against the same caliber type of guys or whatever. He just was playing over there in Europe. I got a chance to go to different places, and that was like one of the, the biggest spots about going over there. Like I played in Berlin, Scotland, Amsterdam. So, I mean, it was great, man. It was real great. The fans was crazy because they was blowing whistles and stuff like they do at the soccer games and stuff like that. So, I mean, sometimes, you got to pay attention to, like, who's blowing the whistles because, they're making all the noise and stuff like that. But the fans was great. It just gave me opportunity to go from playing on a 50-yard field to back to the 100-yard field and the wider field playing outside as well.
Yeah, so is it kind of like maybe like the G League or the minor league baseball of like the NFL?
That's exactly what it was. You know what I'm saying? It was like that.
Yeah, I work in that industry, so I was just I was figuring that's what it was, but like, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, perfect. So I get that 100% then. So who's the best player you've ever played with, and then who's the best you played against?
Oh man, I played as far as what though? Because when you say played against, I mean I played against a lot of good guys as far as
like who's the best you've lined up against? Like best corner you lined up against?
Best corner I lined up against when I played? Oh man, I played against guys like Champ Bailey was probably one of the top guys I ever lined up against, playing against him, man. Champ was like that guy. And he was young then. That's when he was with Washington Redskins. Played against Champ. Man, you got to think about it. I played in 2001 to 2007. So I actually got a chance to run across a lot of guys at their prime. And then I got a chance to play against guys that was, getting older or whatever. But I played in the league to where, it was some real hard hitting back then. And, the things has changed, a lot from now. Back then, you talk about wedges and stuff like that. Now you only can have 2 men. You can't hold hands. So back then, it was a little bit rougher, going in. But one of the best guys I ever played against was Champ Bailey.
Yeah, for sure. Who's the best you ever played with?
Well, I played a year with Drew. Got a chance to play with Drew. Got a chance to play with Marcus Colston as well. Got a chance to play with Joe Horn. I played with some good guys. Sammy Knight, just being on that team, Willie Jackson was probably one of the hardest working guys that was a professional that I played with. He was a starter. It was so crazy. Willie Jackson was a starter, and he would start, but he would do all the other things. Like he would do scout team reps and everything at all times. And I was saying to myself, like, dude, you're taking my reps. And he was like, man, he'll pull you out. Like that's the type of guy he was. So I used to watch him a lot and saw the work ethic he had as a veteran, and still putting in that type of work would actually made me want to work hard as well.
Yeah, for sure. Those are some great players you played with, and Chan Bailey's obviously a complete shutdown corner. Um, so you're really important to the New Orleans Saints. After you retired, they named you a team ambassador. What all does that title entail?
It's just a great name, man. But it does a lot, man. I was like a big community guys, man. I would go to schools, speak at schools, go to different events and stuff like that. Sweet Holders event, you name it, I pretty much did it. When it came to that, on Sundays, I would actually go around walking in the suites, meeting people and things like that, checking on some of the Sweet Holders, some of your top people or whatever. Got a chance to do other things like working for the organization. It puts you in a good position, and it kept me in the community, man, because I was a big community person. I love doing stuff in the community. So that was another thing that I loved about working for the organization and being from New Orleans, that I was always out in the community, dealing with the fans and stuff like that. So it just made it just so much sweeter.
Yeah, for sure. So, have you gotten to really work with Deontay Harris at all? And then what do you think of him? Like, do you think he's coming for
I
your records and all that?
work with him or whatever, but I be around. I still go to the facility. I still, hang out. I still, see some of the guys and stuff like that. I think he's going to be a great, great return guy. And I think once he get a chance to also get into the offense as well, I think that's going to even help out even more, with the organization. But his return game, man, is just stellar, man. I mean, I think he's going to be great back there. And I think a lot of people don't put a lot of emphasis on special team, which you need all three phases to win, and people don't really believe in that. Nowadays it's about scoring and stopping or whatever. But if you got a great special team and a guy like him that can change the course of a game in a kickoff return or a punt return so fast, man, I mean, what more you can ask for? Those are points that you don't look for, but you can get that can help you out. You know what I'm saying? So having a guy like that, man, can actually win a Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like I've been talking about reporting, covering the Saints since like 2015, and no one ever really they always take advantage of special teams until we got like guys like Will Lutz, and then we got Deontay Harris who can get 30 yards every time he touches the ball. So obviously, I think he's going to be a great returner. But do you think he's coming for your records though? That's what I want to
know. Well, this the thing that everybody talk about the record, and the records are made to be broken. You know what I'm saying? I cannot be mad if he breaks the record. I mean, somebody from the team that I played on, you know what I'm saying? But you're talking about a single season record of 2,432 yards in a single season. And that's on punt return and kick return yardage. You know what I'm saying? They don't do a lot of that like it used to be. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you have, if he's back there doing it as much, but you got to understand too, we got a good defense that causes a lot of stuff that don't happen as well. So, would I love for him to break it? Of course. I mean, that's what records are made. I mean, what more you can ask for when your record has been standing for 18 years? I ain't mad.
Right.
I mean, I broke somebody else's record, you know what I'm saying? So you can't be mad. But to have somebody like him that actually plays for the team that you was on, I mean, why not?
Exactly. Is Drew Brees the greatest of all time?
I think he is, man. And it's not about the records and anything. It's the way that he approaches the game. He comes in there day in and day out. First guy in, last guy to leave. He puts in the work, you know what I'm saying? And to have a guy like that for all those years and still doing the same thing and day in and day out, he's working, trying to be the best every game, every day. So, I mean, what more you can ask for from a guy like that who actually was playing ball, and most people thought his career was over with. and to come and put the record, and then hooking up with Coach Payton, which is a great coach as well. With those two guys together, call them two-headed monster, man. What more you can ask for? I think, those two guys, know what they're doing.
So Drew Brees is really like the guy that everyone says he is, right? He's like really the guy who's in there doing workouts on bye weeks and all that stuff.
Oh yeah. He's the real thing when you call the professional. Like, he's that guy. He's always studying. He always paying attention. He always looking. He always trying to find a way to win. So he's pretty much that guy. Just like they say, he puts in that work.
That's what's up. How did it feel being selected to like the New Orleans Saints Hall of Fame? Give us your experience there.
You know what? It's great because I'm from New Orleans, and getting inducted to the New Orleans Saints Hall of Fame, the records that I put up and the records that I've broke, some of the Saints return records and stuff like that, I had a feeling I was going to go in. I knew I was going to go in, but didn't know when I was going in, as fast as I was going in. But it's crazy that me and Tyrone Hughes, who also is from New Orleans, was a return guy as well and played corner. We went in together. And it's crazy. I think we're the only two guys that actually from New Orleans that's actually in the Saints Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's crazy. So what are you up to these days?
Oh, man, doing a little training, you know what I'm saying? That's what I do now. Got a couple of guys in the league right now that I train that's actually in the NFL. That's great, Had two guys that played in the NFL Super Bowl this year. One of the guys was Nick Mullens, who's the backup quarterback for the 49ers. I trained Nick. Tyreek Hill is another guy that I trained coming out of college, getting ready for his pro day. I work with Tyreek as well. Michael Thomas, who actually played for the LA Rams, but now he's with the Bengals. I work with him. Jeremy Sprinkle is another guy that I work with. He's a tight end over in Washington. Jermaine Illuminor, who actually plays for the New England Patriots now. He was with New England, got drafted by New England, went to Baltimore last year. Now he's back in New England. It's crazy. Cameron Tom is another guy that I work with who actually plays offensive line for the New Orleans Saints as well. Had another guy was on the practice squad. I think he gave it up. That was in, I think he was in Pittsburgh, and he wound up leaving. So that's what I'm doing, man. I like teaching a lot of young kids, man. I like them, however they come. It doesn't even matter to me. But just training, man, just giving back is like the most important thing, giving everybody what I had, Nobody trained me. I worked my butt off, but I never had a personal trainer or anything like that. So, at this given time, it's like, got to do what I have to do. But to give back and to give them the knowledge and to give them the training and stuff like that, and to see those guys, like you said, Tyreek Hill and those guys playing, makes me feel good because in some part of their life, I had a chance to touch those guys, to give them a little something. And it just makes me feel good of, just knowing that I work with those guys.
Yeah, for sure. So like, what kind of things are you teaching them? Because you said like a bunch of different positions. So are you doing like position oriented stuff or just like overall general?
Just overall general, speed, agility type stuff, combine work, footwork with some of the other guys, I pretty much put it all in.
Yeah, that's what's up. So one last question for you. Do you have any advice to the young athletes out there chasing their NFL dreams, college dreams?
Yes. Man, look, if you have a dream, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's with sports, doctor, lawyer, whatever. If that's what your dream are, I think you should put 100% into it. And I always tell them like this, education is first and foremost. So without your education, you don't have anything, because once you make it to the league, you're still studying. We got to go over playbooks and all of this, so you're still learning. But what I would say is, man, don't listen to what nobody else have to say that you can't make it or you too old or you too small or anything like that. I always tell people, I was 5'8", 165 pounds when I made it to the NFL. And I heard it all. I was 29 years old when I made it. And I heard people telling me all the time, you too small, you too old, you wasting your time, you doing this here. And I just use it as fuel, man. You know what? I just went out there and I just gave my best. And I always tell them this here. At the end of the day, whatever you're doing, if you can look in the mirror, because you're looking right back at yourself, and you gave 100% regardless to what it is, you should not feel shame about anything that you have done. But I always say, if you got a dream that you're working on, give it everything you got. Don't listen to nobody telling you what you can't do. You're going to fail at some point. You know, you're going to get bumps in the road. Just keep striving and just keep on working. And, you know, eventually you'll get over those bumps. Don't let nothing stop you from being what you want to be.
For sure. Thank you so much for coming on today, Michael. I appreciate it. And who dat, my guy?
All day, baby. Who that?
Have a good one.